All right, we're back for another episode. I think this is episode 12. We got myself Jakur, aka Justin. We got JHC, JP, and we have our future musician, well, already a musician, but Eryk Covey, and full name Eryk Covey.
Hey, everyone.
And so, yeah, today, man, we're super happy that you came onto the podcast. We're looking really forward to hearing from your story and what you've been doing musically, and what's your aspirations, your influences, and all that jazz. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of listeners who basically can get something from this, from this episode. And yeah, Eryk, so why don't we just dive into it? Why don't you tell me about, how you even started playing music, and what was, how did music resonate with you?
Yeah, for sure. Well, as early as I remember is like sitting on like a beanbag chair, and it sounds really classic, but listening to records where my dad and my mom would put that on, and they're like avid classic rock listeners or like folk music. So, and then the first time I just like heard like Bob Dylan, and I was like, what is that? And I was just obsessed. So I just kept asking my dad, play more music, play this, play this. And then one Christmas, my dad got me like a Beatles album. I think it was like number 1 or something. It's like a compilation of like tons of different Beatles, like their hits. I couldn't put it down. And like ever since then, I was just like obsessed with music. So I bring it around, like, we had Walkmans back in the day. And
yeah, yes, sir.
I could not be detached without it. I had that like jean jacket trying to stuff it in. I'd bring it everywhere. If I was like mowing the lawn, the neighbors, like going anywhere, I just always had music with me. And then I noticed my dad had some guitars in the basement. And I was like, hey, are you never using these? He's like, oh, well, my friend gave them to me. I tried to. I asked my dad to like play.
The bass guitar?
No, it was just an acoustic guitar and an old electric guitar that he had.
Nice.
It's like a Yamaha, like an 80s one. It was pretty cool looking.
Sick.
Yeah, it looked kind of Joe Satriani kind of crazy,
Nice.
Yeah, and so I decided to like ask my dad, like, hey, can you play? And he's like, oh, not really. My friend Howard does, but, let me try. And he shows me, and he's trying to strum a few chords. Couldn't really figure it out. I was like, oh, that's cool. Didn't think about it. High school comes around, junior high school comes around, I'm like, oh man, girls really like guys who play guitar. I'm like, man, I gotta learn how to play this, but I'm like, I don't want to play Wonderwall like all of these other guys. So I decided to just like come home one day and just grab my dad's acoustic. I sit down and I just grabbed the acoustic, and I didn't know how to play chords or anything. Like I really didn't know what they were. Someone tells me what a G chord is or C chord. I was like, what is that? So I just stick my fingers on the guitar and start strumming. I actually end up writing a song, my first song I ever wrote. It was. Mm-hmm. And it was, what was it called again? Something about the sun.
How old were you at this point?
I think I was around 12 or 13 years old, yeah, when I picked it up. It was, it wasn't like Here Comes the Sun or anything like that, but it was a song I wrote about the sun. The sun is arising. That's what it was called. The sun is arising. Yeah, it was pretty sweet. And actually, Joe, my friend Joe, still makes fun of me for it because it was very simplistic. Like, the sun is arising. The sun is rising high. Like, the lyrics weren't like a masterpiece. I'm not Shakespeare or anything. 12 years old. And then, I kind of did that, played it a little bit. And then I started thinking about like, should I start playing more often? My friends are starting. My friend Dan, he started drumming. My friend Olivier was playing guitar. I was like, man, I need to, but I can't just play guitar or drums, so they're already taken. So, I was kind of like a little down about it. I didn't know what to do. And then one day my dad comes down on my birthday. I was about, 14. Yeah. And he comes down the stairs with a bass guitar. I'm like confused as hell. I'm like, aren't guitars supposed to have 6 strings? But no, it's a bass guitar.
So wait, he bought you a bass guitar? Like, was it for your birthday or something?
Yeah, it was for my birthday.
Oh, that's dope, man. That's such a good gift. That's
so cool.
The gift that keeps on giving, man, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, it was just awesome. So like I got that bass, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't know what the hell this is. I've never known. And then when Dan Krantz was like, hey, check out the Chili Peppers. You'll see that's a bass guitar, and you're gonna learn a lot more. And I was like, oh yeah. And then I started thinking of a song that I really liked, which was Guns of Brixton from the Clash, where it's like the bass wrote the song and he plays the bass. And I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. Bass players can write music too. And then my dad started influencing me more with like Rush and like Sting from the Police and stuff. And then I got obsessed. So I started picking up the bass and started playing with Olivier and Dan and our friend Taro. Mm-hmm. He was also a guitarist. Our first band was called TVR. And it was called The Vintage Revolution. It was kind of ridiculous. We had our friend dress up like
The
Jimi
Vintage
Hendrix.
Revolution.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. My friend dressed
funny.
up
Going
like,
down to
It's-
ragtime in Ottawa and dress his old clothing and shit.
We totally got all the stats with the Valley Village, dressed up like 1960s.
Yeah.
We thought we were like the Jimi Hendrix experience. It was pretty sweet.
It's funny you mentioned Dan Krantz because we actually just recently had him here. We had the opportunity to get him on the podcast a couple weeks ago. So for anybody who's listening, we had Danny Krantz. Basically, he was living in Tobago, right? So so that's the bit of the backstory. We hope to have Olivier. I think Olivier is working on some music in the future that he's going to be releasing. So
great artist.
These episodes are going to be kind of cross relative in a sense, right? Because you're telling a bit of a history,
Tying in together.
For
tying
sure,
into
yeah.
history,
I mean, without Olivier and Dan in my life, I don't know, and obviously my father and my mother giving me good music as well. But without them, I don't know if I would have ever gotten so far with playing and writing. Like when me and Olivier and Dan came together, we had a couple of different names. You know, it's like you're changing socks. You know, you're changing your band name all the time. But we recorded like when we were 15, like this like 6-song EP thing, and it's super scratchy and stuff. And it's great because it's like very like you can see the influences of like Black Sabbath, Jimi Hendrix, and Led Zeppelin, and Olivier just wailing on the guitar. And I was a little too shy to sing at the time, but I did help like write. Me and Olivier would just write constantly songs together. We probably have like an album or two in like
Just
stuffed in
songs.
boxes of songs somewhere.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And so you've been playing in like a couple bands, right? I mean, you've been there's been you were in a band with Olivier, I think you were just mentioning, right? So did you play any like major, gigs or something that was very memorable for you at that point in time?
Actually, one of them is really funny. Is where I met Justin Parrow.
Oh shit! Are you talking high school shit?
Yeah, buddy.
Fuck, I remember that. Oh man, that was sick. Like I remember. Do you mind if I kind of go for a quick one?
Yeah,
here?
man.
I remember like it was high school. Like it was a battle of the bands, I think, right?
It was.
Yeah, and dude, I just remember like watching these guys, and it was literally that kind of that perspective of like, oh shit, these guys look straight out of the '70s, dog. Like the bass player's got like long hair and like a beard, like strap, and like just like I think he had a tie-dye shirt on, I think, or like
probably.
jeans, like or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But dude, it was sick. He was like on stage and just goes down, like leaning back, almost on his back, like with his legs tucked underneath, and you were like playing up on your chest, and I was like, "This is sick, dude!" Like,
I remember that. I actually used to do that all the time, where I would bend down like that, do that, and then I jump up and do like a 360 playing the bass at the same time. It was like my move.
no, but
I
that's
remember
sick.
seeing that at you guys played at Philomen.
Yeah,
Back in the
that's-
day,
that's
and
That's
I-
what it was.
That's
Philman,
what-
yeah.
that's
okay,
what
I was
I'm
there.
talking
I was in the
about.
crowd.
Yeah.
But I was always like the one thing that I was always wondering with that move: how does the wire don't get like around your feet or something? Like doesn't get like, you know what I mean? Like if
Yeah,
you're 360
So
and you're playing
while,
bass.
while I'm going down,
Yeah.
like on my knees, I kind of use my arm and slap it kind of out of the way.
Okay, I see.
So it's a little bit out of the way, and like when I'm jumping up, I just make sure that I bring my legs up really high.
So you jumping over the wire and
Fair.
if
Yeah.
it were to happen.
Exactly.
Oh, I see.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's so funny though, dude. I remember us literally being outside. And I think it was like the first time getting into weed.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
And it was just like, hey, like, you got a joint, man? And it was just like, no, man. It was like, but yo, good playing, dude.
Yeah. No, it was nuts. Like I felt like I was like a superstar too. Like a girl after the show actually asked me to sign her discs. I was like,
No
what?
way.
I'm like, I don't know how old we were. You know, it was high school, so it
Yeah.
was just like,
16,
what is
17.
this? You know.
You guys played well. I remember Olivier playing on the back of his head at one point.
Yeah,
and,
he
like,
did.
Yeah.
The people in the crowd were definitely mystified for sure. I remember it was a good show. It was a memory for me that has always stayed with
Yeah.
me.
Dude, same. Like, because the actual playing was amazing. Like, you guys had a tight fucking set and like really great instrumentation and singing and all that shit. But yeah, it was like you guys really added in the theatric side of it too, and just like the passion behind the performance and putting in the the little bit of jive. Like it was actually like last night. Last night I was mixing a band. It was this performer named Angelique Francis, and
I know who she is. Yeah,
so
she's
insane.
really
It
good.
was so insane.
She's,
And, like,
I think I just saw her on the Blues Cruise, Joe Bonamassa Blues Cruise. I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
It's
I'll
like
have
this
to
cruise.
check that.
It's in the Mediterranean Sea.
That's cool.
Another guy from Montreal, Justin Saladino band. And
cool.
yeah, he's really good blues player, man, out of Montreal. I just found him on Instagram. Shout out to you if you ever hear this.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and she's she's like leveling up, man.
Oh,
It's
dude,
just-
so good. And like,
awesome.
and they
Yeah.
were all so like chill and so humble and like, but going to the point of like stage performance and presence, she like really goes out of her. And like they have this dynamic between them where it's like they'll call and response to each other. Like, what did you say? And she's like, yeah. And then she goes into that
Nice.
and like really gets like the audience hype.
Oh man,
And
that,
they
that
like,
makes me think of when me and you used to play together live.
oh, fuck yeah,
when
man.
we were in the band called Benihana, and we do this song called the Zombie Song, and I'd literally pretend to die at the end, where I'd be on my back and like roll over and just like croak, and I'd jump over
fucking
and
noises
stuff.
and like I think we had tracks during one of them like
Yeah.
playing that had
I remember
the
seeing like one of the shows there from the Rainbow. I think that was the most,
the Rainbow.
that was
Yeah,
a
shout
pretty
out
big-
to the Rainbow, man.
Yeah,
That bar
yeah.
is
I was actually
awesome.
just
Love
at
that
the
venue.
Rainbow. I was at the Rainbow on St. Patty's Day.
Nice.
And they completely renovated. They have like a carpet now.
I
And-
saw a video of it.
Dude,
Yeah, it looked
dude,
nice,
they-
man.
They got,
really,
they got
really
some
nice.
good funding because they were
Yeah.
actually close to being.
They got a bunch of sponsors
closed.
and like
That
thank
was-
God,
that
man,
was-
because
yeah,
it's such
really.
a nice venue. So
Yeah.
There's
And
a there's
it's
a testimony towards community involvement right there.
For
you know, and
sure,
love, you
for
know, like
sure.
like helping them out to fucking stay afloat.
Well, I think it was some pretty big
J.W.
players
Jones,
too.
I think.
Like
J.W. Jones, I believe it
he
was.
played the first show when the Rainbow opened back up
Yeah,
this year.
yeah.
But I think that there's some big players who are like, you know, I think they're I don't know the details or anything, but yeah, just some big players who are like they've just been going there for years and they just
Oh, yeah.
love the place and the community and
Absolutely.
they're like
I'll always
willing
think
to
of
help
that
out,
place.
which is really really awesome, especially for Ottawa. You know, there's so many venues like not Barrymore's, but what's the one next door to Barrymore's?
oh, Babylon.
Babylon.
just closed its
Yep.
doors.
I know.
You know,
Yeah.
So
That's
these
sad,
these
too.
venues,
That's
yeah.
fucking
That's an
amazing
end of an
venue.
era. My parents even went when
Legit.
before I was around.
Yeah. No, exactly. But another question I had to ask is, I mean, are you like more of a conscious when you write, like the process of writing like lyrics and stuff? Are you kind of more into, you know, your own personal life experiences, or do you ever dabble into like, you know, social and political issues? Because it depends on the writer, right? Sometimes they can do both.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's kind of odd because it's like I try to sometimes put myself in, say, a perspective of somebody else. Like sometimes I'll just make like a character up, and then they'll be going what they go through. Like I used to write like
Oh, so
poetry.
storyteller kind of.
Yeah, a little bit storyteller, and I think I get that influence from when I was listening to like Bob Dylan, you know, or like Cat Stevens. So
Oh, I
like,
love Cat Stevens.
Exactly, Cat
Wow.
Stevens was a big
Same.
influence.
It's a wild
for me.
world.
Yeah.
Or
or Leonard Cohen too, because I was very
Yeah.
into like, you know, the singer songwriter stuff, and it's really interesting because it's not like I just choose a topic. I let the words choose the topic itself. So it's almost like you're kind of coming up with like say a rhythm or a rhyme, coming up with like the lyrics or the melody it's going to be behind it, and you kind of let those words flow. Sometimes the words won't work, and then you just change your idea. So I did have one song I wrote when I was younger. I can't remember it because it was so long ago, but it was called "The Bombs Are Falling," and it was literally about being bombed. You know, like, you know, what's currently going on in the world. But, you know, it was way back for when we had to deal with the Afghanistan war. And I wrote a song about that. And yeah, so sometimes it'll be political, but I usually just let it go and let the lyrics speak for themselves. And I think that goes testimony to people who freestyle, where they just let the words go. And it's almost like the word pops in a second before you say it. You don't even choose it almost. It's like subconsciously.
freestyling is the art of freestyling for me is personally like it's crazy.
Yeah,
like anybody who can
it's
freestyle like
amazing.
on point, like there's no
Exactly.
amount of money I can give them. Like it's
and writing songs can be completely different. Like sometimes you'll like write a riff on a guitar and it can take you up to like a year to even set lyrics to it. And then there's some days
yeah.
where you'll like listen to like some beats on your phone or whatever, and then you'll just like write like 6 pages of lyrics and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? Like I was literally twiddling my thumbs like 5 minutes ago, and you just hit with inspiration. And that's one thing it's like I find really important if you're an artist and you're writing, when that inspiration hits, drop everything and do it. Like even obviously
so to the guys who are
yeah.
listening right now, that would be your advice if
Yeah.
somebody was like, you know, maybe having writer's block and they're having, you know, a hard time just coming up with something, maybe don't stress out about it too much in that point in time, but when you do have an opportunity like you're saying, you know, then jump on it, so to speak, right?
right away. Exactly. 'Cause
Dude,
forcing it is tough.
I 100% agree with that because I'll give the lyric in a second, but I have kind of a comparison to that. But it's like you're going off of raw emotion. It's like you said about like having that split second like word come to you right before.
Yeah.
It's like you're going off of straight emotion. So sometimes like I've just been like pissed off or like in a good mood too. Like there's both dynamics. But yeah, I remember there was like a loop I was doing once, and it was just like I think I laugh too much, but that's all right because life is nothing but a fucking joke. I think I laughed too much, and that's all right. But it was just that over and over. But it was kind of one of those like I didn't really think about it until I said it,
Yeah, exactly.
And it was just because like I was laughing about being upset. Like I was like laughing about like fuck. I'm like. like how crazy is it that I'm so fucking down and out right now? like,
It's true,
and I
it's
could
true.
just like kind of maybe reverse that. Yeah, so,
I think it comes down
so
to
I
even
totally agree.
like communicating with your consciousness a little bit too.
Yeah,
You know,
well put.
like you know how a lot of people are just like, oh, talking to yourself is insanity. It's not. Talk to yourself.
No,
express
talking to
yourself.
yourself,
100%.
talking to yourself is actually very, very healthy for you.
Yeah, it should be.
talking to yourself is actually like if you look it up. Like look it up. I swear to God, it's definitely there's health benefits to it. It's
constantly.
like
Especially if you can appreciate it.
reassurance, like all this type of like positive shit that can come out
Oh
of it.
yeah,
100%.
and
So-
like I almost get like a natural high when you come up with like singing stuff or like lyrics when you're in the house and you feel inspired,
Bro.
Like I came
Also-
up with like a jazz song once, and it was just like the way you say hello, and it was super soft and slow because I was listening to like some Chet Baker, and I was like, oh, this is sweet, and like stuff like that. Just
Chet Baker's dope.
yeah, exactly. Just let it flow.
It's interesting though that you're touching up on the point about like certain writing styles because for a long time, I mean, only until maybe that song that we're releasing where I was really trying to write. I've written about themes and stuff like that, but most of the time when I'm writing, I have no friggin' geometry idea of what I'm actually writing. You know what I mean? So I have no idea, like, and like, it's funny. So I can relate to that 100% because I'm writing and like, you know, oftentimes like the main key word will be the song title, you know, in like, you know what I mean? And I have no idea what I'm writing. I don't even know what the song means half the time. But there's been times where I've really focused on trying to write theme wise and that has helped me for sure. But yeah, no, it's just trying to, I can definitely relate to that point.
Yeah,
so.
100%. It's a journey writing too. Like
Totally.
you don't want it to just like see the end. If you're seeing the end, your product's not going to be as like the quality you want it to be because you're just rushing to finish it. Let it flow, let it go, and like sometimes your verse will develop to be something completely different. Like a few months down the road when you're like practicing the song, you're like, oh, maybe this word would be better. Actually, I don't like the flow of these words together, and then you switch it up, but you keep that melody. And songs can completely change their meaning that way.
Dude, totally. We were just talking about this earlier. Yo, shout out right now, Shaolin Flow, fucking MC Dims and Jesse right now. But we were talking earlier with like them on a video chat, and it was funny because we were actually talking about letting it flow. Fuck, what was the point we brought up?
I don't remember, but I did want to. I it might come back to you, but I did want to mention this. You know, like so when I went to Algonquin, there was a songwriting course. And it was from Dick Cooper, right? And so Dick Cooper from the Cooper Brothers, shout out to him, awesome musician. And one thing that in his like, you know, rules for learning is to write, but then rewrite.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's something I never did before. So again, what you were just saying 2 seconds ago, I can 100% relate. It was like, I'd always just write and then I'd be like, oh, it's good enough. But like, no, it's like you need to rewrite and rewrite again to make it, you know, that much better. And I think that's what you wanted to talk about was see, that's what I'm saying. It was the point that when we were talking earlier to Shaolin Flow, it's like a side group that we have more hip hop based. We were talking about the fact that when we wrote the song that we're going to be releasing probably in May.
It's called Where Do We Go? That's all.
Where do we go?
Sweet.
But and it was just like, you know, at one point Justin's writing a verse and then he comes back and he, you know, and I was like, go rewrite that. Like it could be better. And then he came back with like a fire bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
a fire verse, sorry. And then he did the same thing with me. Like there was this one point where it was like a bridge.
The bridge gap, yeah.
And then it was like, and I was trying this completely different thing. And then he's like, bro, like just maybe switch it up a bit. And then it ended up being completely different and it worked so well, right?
That's awesome.
So,
It's so true, man. I was so happy too. It was one of those things where, yeah, I went back and I was almost like, fuck. And I was like reading my verse and I was like, he's right. It's like, it's not as good. Like it just, and again, it was like, even Jesse said, he's like, well, it's not that it wasn't as good. It's like, it's just, it fits in its own dynamic somewhere else. And it's like, but at the end of the day, no, it's also, it's not that good. Like, it's not as good. Or, oh no, that's what he said is like, you were seeing the potential. You're like, you know, the potential could be up to a better level and better standard. And yeah, so it's like now the second verse outdoes the first one.
Sick.
And that's dope. Like I was fucking blown away.
Yeah. And for anybody who's listening, we will be releasing that. There's going to be some links in the description. We're also going to link Eryk Covey's Instagram as long as you're cool with that. So if people want to follow you musically.
Yeah, we're doing a writing room today with him too. So we're gonna throw down some.
We are sponsored by Kayo-Tea as per usual. You know, they ship nationally, only in Canada for now. So if you guys want, there's going to be sponsor link in the description. Look it up. So we were talking about Bob Dylan earlier, and so who are your like biggest influences musically? That's another question I want to ask you.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, I was definitely name dropping, you know, Bob Dylan being one of the top ones. I actually picked up harmonica because of him as well. So I do play harmonica. And another one I would definitely say is Leonard Cohen, just because of his writing style. It was just like, oh my God, like this guy is incredible. But I mean, I kind of jump all over the place. Like I'm also really into the Beastie Boys. Like the Beastie Boys are
fucking love the Beastie Boys.
Fucking ill, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I used to be in this band way back in Montreal called the Nightwalkers with Tom Purser and my friend Connor as well. And you know, we would do that exchange versing back and forth, and almost like that, like you were saying with I forget the person's name. What was her name again?
Oh,
Angelique, yeah. Where they do that, like the theater where it's back and forth talking. Like we had a song called Where Am I? And which is kind of similar to what your guys was going to release, but a completely different, very, you know, Beastie Boys, where, you know, I can't understand. And then somebody else would be like, my own damn mind. And then someone else would say, the sky or the earth or the rain or the shine.
Oh,
you know?
fuck. I remembered that. You sent that to me.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I remember that song. And actually, yeah, I was almost going to say it almost kind of reminded me of like Fat Lip by Sum 41.
Oh, that's another band, yeah.
Yeah, that rock aspect to it as well. And but that song, because they do that back and forth as well. Like,
exactly.
That's sick.
Yeah, another band, yeah, for sure. Anytime I think back of like my first bands that was very like, oh my God, like I was super into like, you know, Sum 41, Green Day, Blink-182.
Yeah, I mean the 2002, 2004 era, like when, you know, everybody was to a certain point.
When writing music, I'm thinking more like it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm writing solo, like acoustic stuff, like most of the time when I'm writing solo stuff, it's a lot slower paced, it's softer. So I'll go with
what genre? Sorry,
what genre? Like folk.
Okay,
folk,
okay.
pop, folk. Exactly. So I'll go like Jack Johnson a little bit. Ben Harper, Ben Howard.
The pancakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Jack
he's going to
Johnson's
Blues
really
Fest
good,
this
man.
year.
I
I'm
love
stoked.
it.
Yeah.
That's not his only song.
Yeah, he's got better
every
ones.
song is a fucking hit from that guy, man.
Yeah, exactly. Or like softer Bob Marley tunes, like those right there. Those are other ones that are really just like, they just speak to you on a different level. When I'm writing electric music, like on my bass, I'm more influenced by like the classic rock genre, classic rock genre, like Black Sabbath actually a lot. He was my favorite bass player, Butler Greaser.
Yeah.
Just like the way his style is, the tone that comes out of that bass, it's just phenomenal. And of course, Tony Iommi on the guitar, being his partner with that, partner in crime, just next level.
Are you actively like, you know, because I know you played shows in the past, right? Is that something that you're still kind of seeking? You going to open mics, or what's your kind of like musical path looking like playing live, let's say?
For sure. Yeah. Like, I mean, I would love to start like a band again, like a 3-piece or 4-piece. It's always great to do that with friends and just play music. Especially nice to have like electric. But if I'm doing solo, which is probably what I'll be doing, especially, you know, since it was COVID and everything's coming back, doing open mics with my acoustic. And I've gotten into like covering songs, but changing them. So like putting them a little bit slower, like Sweet Child of Mine from Guns N' Roses. I cover that now, and I do it a lot slower. Pace to make it more, you know, relaxing, which is kind of funny because it's a pretty banger song. But I find like, so in the next few months I'll just be jumping around to different open mics. There's Oak,
getting back out there.
Yeah, exactly, like live on Elgin.
Everything's just
definitely
opening up,
Sir,
right?
Tuesday night.
Yeah,
But I don't.
Tuesday night.
I'm totally open to collaborations with people. Like I would like to sing some blues and play harmonica with a blues band or something like that. Do a few
Oh,
songs.
it's true. You play harmonica too.
Yeah, man.
You know, what
Okay.
about
Yeah.
a rapper?
Yeah, I would ride with you.
Because I'm a rapper.
But and so the thing is too is writing a lot too, right? So you did go to university, right?
Yeah.
And what did you study while you were there?
I studied English.
English?
So yeah, I studied English and anthropology. Anthropology
Okay.
more for the fact of just the love of cultures and
So
traveling.
that
and
must have been
understanding
very
people.
like relative and helped you out
With writing, yes.
With writing, yeah.
I took some poetry classes as well.
Okay.
Which was really great. I actually have one of them on Facebook, which I should probably post somewhere else since Facebook has taken down like the notes section or whatever.
Really?
But it was last words from a World War II soldier, and it was literally about him walking into Berlin, not knowing if he's going to die or be relieved, like the war is going to be over. And I put myself into that, and I actually did a presentation of that in front of the class, and the teacher was like, "Whoa."
It was a poem that you wrote?
Yeah, it was a poem.
Do you
yeah.
remember it?
I can't remember it by heart,
Yeah.
but I do have a
Okay, I was gonna say if you did, you could say it. That would be cool.
Yo,
It's
next
pretty long.
podcast, man. Bring
It's
it
pretty,
on.
it's pretty long. It's a pretty long one, but yeah, I
okay.
have like 3 or 4 that are on there. But yeah, basically when I started writing, it was all poetry. I used to write nonstop. Like I had books and books full of it, like nonstop writing all the time. I used to even give them to teachers in high school and girls. Constantly wrote it. And I went through a purge after high school where I call it a purge because I feel really bad about doing this. And I kind of regret doing it, but I went to the middle of the woods. I rented a cabin for 2 weeks with my dog at the time. Rest in peace, Patch. She was the best dog. So we went camping for 2 weeks, just me and my dog, and I burned half of those lyrics. And I just
Jesus.
like, I still think of that at night. Sometimes I'm like, why did I do that? You know, the things
How
you
old are
regret.
How old are
Yeah,
you?
that's fair.
I think it was like probably 18, 19 years old. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure.
It felt good though, in a
He
way
did it
of
for
shedding
his-
the past.
Yeah, that's actually a thing, right? Did you know that?
Yeah, writing a letter to
writing
yourself
out
and
to
then
a letter
fucking
and then
burn
burning it and shit. It's actually
Oh yeah, I mean,
done it.
people do it constantly. Like, actually, it's suggested that if you're angry, write in like say a Word document and just write it all, and then delete it. But don't just press delete. Actually, press like the back cursor where it goes back, and you see the words deleting.
Really?
And it's like it's like a relief. Just whatever you do, don't send it. You know.
When you said that,
Don't
when
send
you
it to your boss or anything
Yeah.
like that.
when you
Exactly.
said write it in a notepad.
I really don't like what you did. I'm gonna slash your tires.
Yeah.
10 reasons why I hate your micromanaging.
You know what's wild too? When you said that, like visually, like you're like, oh yeah, you start deleting the words and you just like feel a relief. I literally pictured like John Coffey from fucking The Green Mile, like just when he like spews out that black shit, like when he like gets the disease and he's just
yeah.
like, Chaw! Like, yeah,
That's a great movie too.
I love that shit.
Yeah, that's definitely like it's a relief. Yeah, but I do regret burning those lyrics back in the day. I still write, but I find like I write less now than before. Mostly just because, you know, the compilations of just being an adult and having to do so many things. You don't just sit down. And I find if you start writing, it comes to you more and more often though. So if you stop, then you're going to get that more of that writing block.
Yeah, it's
sometimes
one
just
of
write
those
notes.
things. I mean, I'm definitely guilty of it too. Like, I should be writing more. You know what I mean? I haven't written in, you know, a couple months really. If I think about it right now, like I haven't written. Not. Oh, actually, that's not true. But I can definitely relate on what you were saying about like, you know, burning all those papers or whatever. Like I have something like similar. I haven't burnt my papers. I still have them in store.
You should
I
keep
actually made a
them.
binder. I actually made a binder in like with like plastic and stuff and like and then I dated them and so now I can go through them. But just with like my more recent songs, I'm talking about the last 5 years. It's like I'm still like weirdly attached to them and like I don't want to let them go, but at the same
yeah.
time I want to let them go because I want to write new shit. You know what I mean? It's this like hate love kind of like I don't even really fully understand it.
For
but-
sure. I
So-
completely understand that. I've actually kept old cell phones.
Really?
Just because
For
I
the
have
notes?
recordings of tons.
Recordings.
Tons of
voice recordings, yeah.
voice
Yeah,
recordings
dude.
of lyrics,
Those
or
are-
like me just playing songs where it's like, and then I'll go like listen to it and be like, oh my god, that riff I still use today, but for a complete different song. You know, stuff like that can happen. You're like, wow, that's so crazy how things evolve. But like, I even have one that's like a 2.5 hour one where me and my friend Tom, when I was living in Montreal, we're literally on top of Mont Royal. And it's like midnight or something. We have a guitar and we're just singing and jamming in the middle of the forest on Mont Royal, looking over Montreal, right?
dude, that
Oh,
sounds
man,
And
epic,
like
bro.
listen to it again, and like in the past, you're like, wow, it's amazing how it brings memory. So I do keep that also for the notes, old cell phones for sure.
Bro, yo, legit, dude.
Did you? So the paper that you were talking about earlier for university was that? Did you write another paper on music as well, or?
I actually wrote a few papers on music. There was one where it was actually an anthropology field research course where I could choose a subculture, which I used the subculture of open mics in Ottawa because that's where I was. I was at Audio U. So I would go, and instead of doing it as in like going to the audience and asking how they felt about going to open mics, I actually went to the artist and asked them, how does it feel to perform at open mics? So it kind
Love
of,
that.
instead of it just being like the normal paper, I reversed it a bit. I actually got really good grade on it, and it was really awesome because, you know, I was kind of mixed up with it, met some artists. I can't remember their names, sadly, you know.
You did like
But-
interviews?
Yeah, I did little interviews. So I had them
no way.
like had a notepad, kind of like a journalist. They'd have to sign a waiver saying that I could use their name and their, you know, their information within my paper.
You went to one on campus as well.
Yeah,
right?
I went to the most.
What was that one
mostly-
called?
There was Cafe Alta, there was Cafe Nostalgia.
Oh,
and-
nostalgia.
Yeah.
You went to that one. You there's a good chance you actually maybe ran into Amanda Lowe, which is she's
Possibly.
like a great like local artist. Yeah,
Yeah.
but she used to host that one there, I think.
Oh, most likely,
Yeah.
then. Definitely most
Sick.
likely.
I
Yeah.
played there a couple times.
Yeah, I played there once
Yeah.
or twice as well. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, so I try to keep close to campus, but of course, like there was ones like the Rainbow and other places at the time that I don't think they're all there anymore. I don't know if Live was around at that time, but I didn't get to do that one. Sadly,
What
enough.
year? Because yeah,
2014.
I think they've only yeah, no, I think they just hit the 5-year mark.
Yeah, so
recently,
it would have been
was
before
right
that,
after
yeah.
that. Yeah, pretty close though.
But I also did the Brass, where we used to open mic there every Tuesday.
Oh,
with our
man.
friends.
Jesus Christ. The Brass was like shaped me for who like the shout out to the Brass. I mean, back in the day, for anyone who's listening, and
Yeah.
did like that's the first time I met like was actually at the Flicks was the Mosquitoes.
Yeah. Oh, those guys were
But
great.
there's actually something I was thinking about. I just wanted to touch on. It was like for me, I got really heavy into reggae, and had the opportunity to go to to Jamaica, and I sat on Bob Marley's Rock. I played guitar. I actually met Julian Marley. I played guitar in in the tourist in Bob Marley's house. And so I know that I've known you for a long time, but you've gone traveling, and so how did songwriting and traveling come into play, and where have you gone?
Nice. Actually, I've got a perfect response to this. So I used to be obsessed with Jim Morrison as well. Like the Doors were like my calling. When I was actually at those brass ones, I used to think I was like Jim Morrison. I'd hold like a big pint in my hand and sing, I loved it. I don't know what I was doing, complexity or some bullshit. But so I went to Europe, and I actually went to Jim Morrison's grave.
Oh, no way.
In Paris. Yeah.
It's in Paris. I didn't know.
It's in Paris. And it was an amazing experience. But there was a girl who went to high school with us. Her name was Lara, and she was from Austria. So I decided I would go visit her. We actually have on my Facebook 3 or 4 songs we wrote together, and they're folk songs. And it was just about being like traveling and Europe, and I guess kind of like lovey-dovey kind of stuff. It was really nice. Yeah. I still think of those songs sometimes and listen to them, and I'm like, wow, it brings you back to like another mindset. That being said, as well, is when I was traveling through South America, so not Europe this time, South America, I brought like a junior guitar to bring around.
Oh, kind of like a little beater almost?
Yeah, a little beater, exactly. And it was sick to have, because I would have some downtime, and it would just sit in the backyard of like this kind of like host family I was at, and I would just play the guitar and sing and stuff like that, and write songs to kind of like feel connected at home. So because I was gone for so long, that it was kind of a way to just feel like I was connected at home. So I'd play songs that I had written back at home to feel like I was there. And then sometimes I would bring it into the class I was teaching, because I was also teaching English and in impoverished communities in Sao Paulo. And I bring my guitar and I play for them, and the kids get all super excited. I met one that was a drummer, and he brought his little drum box, cajon, I think they're called, and just played shows for the kids, and they would just love it. It was a way to communicate.
How long were you gone for, and like where were you exactly? Sorry.
Yeah, so I was in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and nice. It was just it was next level. Yeah, so it's the school is called For You Too. So shout out to them for giving education to impoverished communities and those who really want to learn English and get themselves out there. It was just Campo Redondo and Campo Limpo campus. Those two, shout out to them. Amazing. Good times. It was a way to communicate, because I didn't speak Portuguese, because they speak Portuguese in Brazil, not Spanish. A lot of people have that mixed up.
No, yeah, they do, yeah.
Exactly. And I couldn't communicate so much with my students, but through music, I totally could. I would ask them to, write me a report on like their favorite song, and I would get exposed to like different types of music. A lot of them, they really like that samba dance music, and it was really cool.
It's traditional, right?
Yeah, and it was amazing just dancing around with a bunch of Brazilians and just having so much fun. And then it's completely different once you cross over to like the Spanish side of South America.
Is that where you went as well?
Yeah, so I went to Argentina, Chile, and Peru, and Bolivia. Completely different.
You were gone. I remember you were gone for 3 months or something.
No, it was 11 months, almost a year.
Oh,
we're both around.
I thought it was like 3 months. Okay, you're gone for a long time, man.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience.
What made you do that? Like,
actually, kind of funny. When I was a kid, my dad used to collect National Geographic books. Those yellow ones that everyone has, all
the ones in high school there that you treat like shit.
Yeah, kind of like that. And they always had like the pictures and stuff.
I used to do that when I was a kid.
I love them. And there was one my dad had of Machu Picchu. And I was like, oh my God, I want to go there one day. And I was just like a kid, like I was probably like 12 years old when I read the book and the National Geographic article on it. And I was like, I need to go there one day. And I went there and it was amazing. And it was kind of like a bucket list, like almost checking it off, And I spent 8.5 hours at Machu Picchu. The average person spends 3 hours there. I felt inspired. It was beautiful.
Bro, I get that.
And I climbed to the top, and I brought my harmonica, and I played at the top of Machu Picchu, right at the Moon Temple. It was
so crazy
sweet.
Hike just to deliver some music on a mountain. That's pretty cool.
I was gonna say, I picture like the harmonica just ringing out over the city. Like people are just like walking around, and they're like, "What's that like beautiful harmonica sound?" Like, and it's just drifting through the wind.
Yeah, you're so high up though. It's amazing.
So did like Brazilian music influence you at all? It must have in some way.
In some ways, mostly the drumming, honestly.
Yeah.
They also have like this really cool dance, like martial art called capoeira. or something like that. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah,
the actual,
like Brazilian jiu-jitsu almost, where they dance and fight
yeah,
at
it's
the
like
same
dancing
time.
and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
me personally, when I was younger, I did Taekwondo, which I learned a lot of responsibility, morale, how to be a good person, and stuff like that. With thanks to my father and my mother for putting me in there. But going there, I saw they would do a lot of streets, like random improv, those types of martial arts. So I'd go
Really?
in and I'd start dancing with them and doing it. And I was able to, kick over people's heads and whatever. And they would do the same. And you kind of dodge and everyone's dancing like a kind of a martial arts sparring dance. And it's incredible. It's really, really cool. And there was also Paulista Avenue, which is this massive avenue in Sao Paulo. And they would do kind of like the Busker Fest in Ottawa, kind of similar to that, but with music. So there would just be tons of different bands all lined just like across the road, just like going. And you just walk there, and there's a bike path in the middle, and you just bike through or walk through, and you just visit different bands. And it's surprising, actually, how much the local artists were into American music, like blues. And I was like, oh, this is amazing, because their dance music is completely different.
No, there's a really good artist that I follow. He's a really, really, really good blues player, man. He's living in LA right now, but I found him on Instagram. His name is Arthur Menez, and he's Brazilian, and he comes from Brazil, and he's like one of the top dogs of like, modern blues players that are currently gigging live and playing shows. And he moved to LA. I'm sure it's like, it's a lot to just let everything go and just like jump on a plane and like I'm moving over here to follow this career. Anyways, he's really, really good. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I mean, blues music is everywhere, man. It's blues music. I love the blues. I play blues. But yeah, you go down to goes right back to the cotton fields all the way to modern day. That's in Europe. It's everywhere. So I'm not surprised to hear that.
Yeah, I just loved it. It was great. Also, when I was in South America, I wanted to like read stuff about I had read about South America a lot during my university years. I actually did a course on anthropology of like South America and did papers on like the oil industry in Peru and stuff like that. But I was just like, I wanted to feel at home. So I'd pick up like books of like biographies of like Canadian artists about their journey of becoming a musician. And one of them was Joel Plaskett. So he's from the East Coast. Like Dartmouth and Halifax. Amazing songwriter.
I don't know who that is.
And he actually was. He's very Canadian. He's done things for CBC. He's everywhere. Very, very like probably one of the nicest people like ever. He's super tall, and he kind of looks like my friend Dan. It's kind of funny, but yeah, he really influenced me with songwriting actually later on in life. And I listened to him so much that he was actually my top artist of the 2010s, and I was like kind of surprised because like, wow, I listen to so much different music, and this guy just popped up so much. When I saw him live in Montreal, it was almost like a bang to the head. It was like, this guy is insane live. His music, when it's recorded, a lot more calmer and stuff, but live, what a show, man. Really? I mean, the guy's like probably like 6'5", so he's just towering over everyone, just singing and jumping around.
What type of genre?
It's kind of like rock, okay. Folk rock, blues,
rockabilly a bit.
Rockabilly a bit too, yeah. Yeah, even goes down to like countryish and bluegrasses. He just kind of got everything, and that East Coast influence.
Sure.
And he sings about the East Coast so much, so it made me feel connected while I was in South America. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, going full circle around. Reading books like that helped me feel connected at home and being gone for so long, and then also influenced me to continue writing in my folk poetry kind of style of music. So when you asked me, did I really get influenced by Brazilian music? Not so much acoustically, except for maybe that artist from that Bill Murray movie. What's it called again? It's with there's like a yellow submarine in it. Dr. Zizou. I can't think of the title about it, but there's a Portuguese guy who does covers of David Bowie's music through an acoustic, and he sings Portuguese.
No way.
And I was like, wow.
That's dope.
It's incredible. Definitely, I suggest you all to check it out. It's mind-blowing. Really cool. And that right there kind of got me the idea that, I can take other songs from other artists that are really upbeat and slow it down to make it more in that folky genre, to fit more of my voice and what I like to do with the guitar. So you're not limited to just one genre. You can take a punk song about drinking beers in the back,
Turn it into reggae almost or something.
and turn it to reggae.
Yeah. You can do whatever.
Or do whatever you
So
want.
true.
Sky's the limit.
Man, I agree. And talking about inspiration of like, especially being abroad and everything, like inspiration of music is it's a bit of a different dynamic. It wasn't so much lyricism. This was more like how I like layering in instrumentation and vocals and things like that. Is like I was in Thailand in Chiang Mai and I was walking by this like group of actually 4 blind guys, like 4 blind Thai people, and they were playing like I guess like a classical guitar, and then one of them had almost like a clave style, like just wood block, and one of them had a little hand drum, and then one of them had a shaker, and they were just like, you know, it was just some upbeat like dun 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 dun, dun, you know, almost like with the heavy strumming and shit, but it was the vocal performance was so fucking insane. It was like almost like barbershop style, like just in the sense that like their harmonies were so beautiful and so well timed, and I just remember that being one of the moments that, being a sound tech myself and like liking mixing and liking doing shit like that and production, it got that was where I remember like falling in love with vocal layers. Was like one of my favorite parts of music and productions is actual vocal layers and having like space. Like, so when you're creating a track, like having a lot of space and kind of like extra emphasis on things, like sometimes even if it's just little intricacies that you hear like all around, it's just like but yeah, and it's actually cool because I was watching that new Kanye documentary, Genius.
I was watching
and
it too.
It's really good actually. And he was talking about just listening to some of his beats that he was making in his productions. It's like you got heavy vocal layers and they're all soulful and like big, and I was like, that's what makes the hip hop tracks so sick, you know?
Oh,
like,
it's true.
And anyway, it's not the only thing, but it's just I remember like even when I'm doing live mixing, like, man, that's my favorite thing is when people come in with like 3 or 4 vocalists and like they all harmonize together.
You
It's
can
like
mix it properly.
Oh man, it's so important to have like a good mixer, because I remember when we used to do shows, like you naturally could project your voice a little bit further than mine, that they would always like, it would always seem like I was like not as loud as you, even though like I was being like the lead singer in some parts, and I was like, but then sometimes when we had like a really good mixer, we sounded incredible. So it really can make the difference.
It's true, man. Gain staging, dude. Like there's so many things. Like I can even and I was gonna say, this is not even like what I'm about to say is not a bad thing. This is like actually what's kind of cool about understanding people's dynamic is like Dan Kelly, who's a local artist, like awesome dude. And he's got a very low voice, so he's got a very nice soft. So he usually stands like a tad bit closer to the mic. So when he goes up on stage, like I know immediately that I'm cutting out like a lot more low end.
Yeah.
And because I just know how, and I give him a bit more gain because I know how it just needs that extra drive, you know, and you don't want it to be too kind of like heavy sounding. You want it to kind of cut through or whatever. So it's like cool, and it's like, but then someone else will go up, and I know that they sing farther away, and like the proximity effect is where the closer you get, you know, the more bass there is. So it's like, yeah.
So you're just,
I thought I'd give an example.
So you're saying that you're a dope ass sound man, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm basically saying I'm a dope ass sound man, but
Look at this guy, tap yourself on the back, man.
no, but it's true what you're saying, because like
proof is in the pudding.
no, it's
Yeah,
true,
no, it's
man,
true, it's
dude.
true.
Last
Right up.
night, Angelique, man, she could sing, bro. She had such a powerful voice. It's like her gain. She had the same mic as everybody else, but her gain was like
Slightly down.
because she could project, you know. And
Yeah,
it was
that's
like
the thing. It's so
which
different.
is good though. You want that.
Yeah, I have an issue with that myself, because when I'm playing like acoustically, it's like my voice is completely different than when I'm playing with like a band and I'm just the lead singer. When playing an instrument, it's like my voice is slightly different. I'm not projecting as much. I don't know why. It's just like a way it goes. Or when I'm playing a different type of music. So like when I'm playing
that's fair.
blues, when I
Playing
play
something and
blues,
singing,
I
I
can
get
project
that.
my voice like a lot more when I'm playing blues. I don't know. Maybe it's just like it speaks to me inside a bit more. Maybe I'm less nervous. But when I'm like
Yeah, maybe
singing,
you feel more attached. Maybe
I
it's
think
more
that's what it
rooted,
is.
deep rooted, and you can kind of just like go with it, and you don't kind of have that wall of like, oh, I don't need to.
So if there's
Projector.
anybody who's a mixer out there and I haven't performed for you, just warning you, if I'm playing a blues song, just do the adjustments needed.
I've always tried to get like the best level I can, like vocally, and then if I'm singing lightly, I'll obviously go closer, and then if some parts in the song where, you know, I'm like talking super close, and then parts of the song where it's like, you know, I'll back up and like, you know, it's, you know,
sure.
sing louder, right? Because that's what's like, you know, that's what you have to do.
And you learn that through experience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. 100%.
I'm not going to totally say this is completely accurate. I'm pretty sure it is, but it's just because, you know, it's one of those things I'm saying off the cuff that I remember hearing about a while ago. But J. Cole actually did recording in Audio Valley in Ottawa at one point, like way back. Like I think he did a bit of vocals for something. So it's like Steve Foley actually like recorded with J. Cole and stuff. And there's like a picture there.
That's crazy.
And
That's
yeah,
cool.
and but he said that he had told me once that Steve had told me once that. Oh yeah, like J. Cole had this way of like speaking to the mic when he'd rap a certain way, he'd actually like turn and cock his head to the side and he'd just rap like a little more beef, but like he'd turn so it was like I guess more of a focus sound and not as much of like a like
Direct.
popping in, and like wind
No
on the
way.
mic. It's very like more I guess vocal control in a sense,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
100%.
yeah, and he was just saying he had
Mic-
some cool techniques
mic
of like
control.
yeah, he'd be like he'd hit a louder part and he'd kind of like lean a bit closer but turn away, you know, kind of thing. And I just thought that was really cool. Like
That sounds sick. Yeah.
yeah.
I wanted to know, like, we've talked a bit about, like, you know, the history of your influences, you know, Dylan or the Clash. Do you have any like influences that are, well, modern artists that are like either upcoming or playing? And then also a second question or a second wonder, I was wondering, do you have anybody who's locally who influences you at all?
Oh, locally too. Yeah,
That's a good question.
There's this artist called Jakor. He's pretty awesome. I don't know if you've heard of him, but when it comes to blues, this guy rocks it out of the park. And when I watch him and stuff like that, I go home and I'm like playing harmonica and singing. I'm like, yo,
Bro,
this guy
I
sounds.
You
sick.
do actually slay though, bro.
He slays it hard. Yeah. And when it comes to like rap beats, well, my other friend Justin, you know, he's pretty good. I do tell you, check out his YouTube videos; they are awesome.
Aside from us, though,
Aside from you guys, for local artists, let's say, it's a little tough because we haven't been outside very long, you know, so it's a little bit difficult. And all I see really are just like open mics people with like their names, and then you know I leave and I can't remember their name. When it comes to like modern artists, I really do like Ben Howard, not Ben Harper, Ben Howard. He's from Ireland, and he's just amazing. And his newest album that came out, I think it was last year, completely different. And he uses a lot of really cool recording techniques, which I do suggest you guys to check out.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. For locals, it's difficult because I haven't been out very much, but I mean, I'm sure going to be out there a lot more now that everything's opening up, and definitely check out that. I know Alana Sterling, she's local.
Yeah,
that girl
she's really
has
good.
pipes. Like she can.
I don't understand it, to be honest. Like,
I know she's gifted for sure when it comes to that.
You know, she's a bit smaller and like, you know, like she just has such a
Amy Winehouse, like it just
everything, like her control over her voice is it's crazy.
It's incredible, yeah. And I think J.W. Jones, he's also local, I believe, too. He played at the Rainbow.
Okay.
Yeah, so that guy there, he was really good, too. There's the Rye Police also. My friend Max Gibson's in that band.
Yeah.
I like to check them out. I'm not totally influenced by their style. It's a bit different, a little bit more modern poppy, like Tokyo Police Club kind of stuff, I guess you would say. But really good. They do what they do it super well, and they're very clean. I really like that about them. And they actually played at the Byward Market during the pandemic, and they slayed it. It was pretty
sick.
sweet.
Have you seen their music video, Get Up?
No, I haven't checked it out yet.
Dude, it's lit.
Oh,
and it's
nice.
actually funny enough, it's done by Joey Gaskell, who shout out Joey.
Joey.
Shout out Joey Gaskell.
Who actually, like we've been in talks with it. We're gonna work on some stuff with him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well,
So it's kinda cool, like-
we're doing a music video with him like in May, basically at the beginning of May. It's already planned out and everything.
And another
Awesome.
cool connection, just because I love it. And shout out to Alex and Miranda. Congratulations! I get to DJ and like MC for Alex and Miranda's wedding.
Oh, that's
With,
so cool.
Yeah, the lead singer there. Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
Super stoked, man.
Yeah, and I'm actually hoping for Dan.
There are two
Dan
people that
Krantz to
inspire
come
me.
back and do some DJing around the place. You know?
Oh fuck yeah!
Like, you know,
Dan sent me some stupid
his
fucking
beats,
good beats too. Like
they're so
Dan
awesome.
I don't know why I said
Dan
stupid
Krantz.
good, but like in a good
Oh,
way.
yeah, he's the actual one who did the sample drums for our song that we're
Yeah,
releasing.
the one we're
Yeah.
making the video for.
It's
Yo,
great.
this is all coming full circle like
It
this
is,
table,
it
bro.
is,
Yeah.
it is. It is. And aside from everything that, like, you know, we've talked heavily about your influences in music and stuff like that. I mean, you're a normal human being like the rest of us. I mean, so do you have any other like crazy passions? I'm just curious in general. I've known you for a long time, so I already know that you snowboard, you skateboard, you love camping. You know, we share a lot of the same interests. I mean, me and Justin go up to Eryk's land once in a while, and you know, we camp out, we play songs, and we, you know, turn up.
I watch huge pieces of log that we cut up come flying at me as the mushrooms are kicking in, and I'm just like, holy fuck.
It builds character though. Sometimes
does
going
build
up there,
character.
and
It's
doing
so
work.
nice to have a place to escape to. It really
Yeah,
is.
that's what it is.
It really is.
And you know, as much as I'm sure that, you know, some friends and at certain times can be a lot. And, you know, I've definitely been, you know, a character for sure in the past. And, you know, I apologize
Yeah,
for
but
that.
we all have our moments and we all love each other in the end. And I think the importance is, we go there and it's a place of no judgment. Like, I think that's what's cool. It's
All
like
about.
everyone's just fucking vibing and like,
True.
you know, you get away from things and you can really just kind of be human and not worry about it.
You're still riding that, right? Snowboarding rides? Did you go this year?
Oh yeah, man. I think I went over like 25 to
already?
30
Wow.
times this year.
Oh,
It
wow.
was just
Those are good runs.
incredible. Went to Tremblant quite a few times. Went to Mont Marie, and you know, got a shout out to Camp Fortune. You know, you're the closest hill around, but you guys are just awesome to
they've
you
been
know
there forever.
keep the prices at a good around a rate. But I do suggest please get lights on all your hills for night skiing. But yeah, I go with my friend Joe and Chad, and actually
Nice.
I jam with Chad quite often too. He's a
Still?
drummer. Yeah, he's pretty good. He's like steady, kind of like Ringo Starr kind of steady. It's pretty sweet.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I didn't even know he plays drums.
Ringo Starr,
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
a kind.
I never knew that.
Yeah, he's got a nice electric drum kit like in his
No way.
basement. Yeah, he tells me it's a great way to burn off some steam because he's racing twins right now. So you know, we gotta put
Wow.
his headphones on and just beat the drums a bit. But yeah, for other hobbies, definitely snowboarding is like my life in the winter. It's like what I do. As soon as I'm finished work, I'm going to the hill like immediately. I'm there. I'm going up and down. I'm doing tricks. I'm just having a blast. I'm laughing sometimes when I'm going down super fast. Just
It must
like,
be nice too,
joy.
because you're outside, you're getting fresh air, you're just blasting down a hill.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I skateboard, right? But I can't. I mean, I've tried snowboarding. I can snowboard. I can still snowboard. I could probably go down a hill, but I haven't done it in like 2 years. So I'm probably rusty, and I'm probably gonna eat shit when I go, if I ever go again. But
It's worth it though.
I'm planning
I'll
on
tell you.
skating a lot this summer. That's for sure.
Yeah,
So
it's good. What I like the difference between skateboarding and snowboarding is like when I snowboard, if I'm like in the air, like pretty high up, 10 feet or in the air, just like soaring even higher. I don't have to worry about like my leg breaking in half compared to like on a skateboard. Like the skateboarders, like they are just another breed. They're thrasher to the max. Like they're just incredible. And I love skateboarding.
It's true, man.
I love skateboarding. And my brother, he's a big influence on me for skateboarding.
He's pretty good, man.
He's really good, and he's always been an influence. And then when I think about it, it's like growing up, I think about us having that little boom box, listening to Sum 41 and skateboarding in the driveway.
Yeah.
And then looking at him now, and he's going to like skate parks and just destroying them, like being so sick. And I'm
Yo,
like,
shout out Johnny, man.
Yeah,
Fucking
shout out
right.
Johnny.
Duck, yeah.
Yo.
Love it. And
man, mad respect to skateboarders, bro. Like I've seen people literally like grind like a bar on like a fucking 20 flight like cement stairway and like literally clip their face off the bar and then like get up and be like, oh, like I missed, and I got to do it again.
you know that like when people are like, we're built different. I think skateboarders are legit built different.
Yeah, 100%. Like from
Yeah,
there.
I mean, yeah, man, skateboarding is like I'm not gonna claim I'm super pro or anything like that. I've gotten better over the years. Like I feel like I skated a lot when I was a kid, and then as soon as I got a half pipe in my garage, like that's when I really, and it was weird. It was like at 22 I started getting good at skating. It was
same.
really, really weird.
Same, man.
You
You,
know
got
what I
me
mean?
back into it. Without
Dude,
you having that
ramp
half pipe, that
literally
ramp in the back,
changed
oh my God.
my life, man.
We're
It
going
was-
there. It's minus 40 outside, everyone. Just minus 40,
Well,
and we
it was
go in
in a
this
garage.
garage that's
It was-
not heated.
Yeah, it's not
and
heated
we're
at
just
all.
in there
Yeah, that's
cracking
why it is
beers.
cold, dude.
Just, yeah.
But
yeah,
but
you were there.
I wouldn't even do any activity. Like these guys are actually sweating
Yeah.
it out. I'm fucking sitting there freezing, just
Oh, we
smoking
would
cigarettes.
sweat so much though because you're skateboarding. You're skateboarding, right? So it becomes like pretty hot, yeah. And
Yeah.
now having one at my
That's
at
great,
my
though.
land, having a little one up there, so when I go up there, I can do that, and then I can just run to the lake and jump in, cool down. And going back to what you're saying, like what I like to do and the influence and stuff like that. Really, just being in the woods with my friends, my best friends, playing the acoustic and hanging out with them, singing. Everyone passes around the guitar, gets to like share their feelings, their emotions, and just be themselves 100%. I think that's like what if you're gonna take away anything from this podcast, for sure, just be 100% you, and don't mind anybody else's like influence. Like literally, if it's you, be yourself, and your friends will love you for it, because real friends will stick there 100% with you
support you,
if
yeah.
you're yourself.
Yeah, it's true.
That is legit.
That's what would be your like, suggestion to people who are listening, who are maybe they're in the beginning phase of just playing acoustic. You know, they're hesitant about writing. They're hesitant about, you know, playing. What would be your advice?
For sure. I mean, singing in the shower.
Dude, I was doing that
Seriously?
earlier before this fucking podcast. You guys heard
I
me?
heard you.
I don't do that enough.
I mean, 100%.
It feels
singing
great.
in the shower is the gateway to writing music. Like,
Really?
Yeah. Yo, fun fact, man, going into audio nerd shit. I'm sorry to cut you guys off quick, but like, no, it's actually like, I think a thing where like most showers, because you've got like a lot of piping and a
Reverb?
lot of like, you get a lot of reverb. So
Yeah.
pretty much you'll sound good in the shower.
I used to,
better than
I
you do.
used to actually bring like a chair with my acoustic guitar and sing in the bathtub, not with the water on or anything like that, and just record with my phone to get that natural echo effect.
What's the song?
You know
there?
who else did that, man? Fucking Les Paul.
No way.
Les Paul,
What-
the
that's-
creator of Les Paul.
so
Yeah.
sick.
What's the song by Zeppelin, man? When they played at I think it was the bottom of the staircase or on top of the staircase.
Is that Four Sticks?
Oh, I think. Good question. I
It's
think
like,
top. Oh no, I think they had recording from the top, bottom because it goes up
yeah,
the
the
stairs.
echoed,
Stairway.
but it's no.
No.
No,
No,
it was
it's-
the drumming.
Yeah, Four Sticks. Four Sticks. Oh no. It's When the Levee Breaks.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what
which
it
is actually a cover, but they changed it completely.
Ruckus.
You know, they still use that drum sample on tons of hip hop.
Oh,
music.
yeah.
Oh yeah, because it like defined that sound so well.
It's true.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, going back to like if you're just starting out, sing in the shower. Don't be shy. Maybe having like your own area, because I know like having your parents around can be like daunting.
Daunting, yeah.
You get like a little bit of that emotion. Like I even get it. Constantly don't want to play in front of my parents. Like even now, even though they've heard me like 1,000 times, having your own space. 100% have your own space. Sing in the shower. Pick up that guitar, even if you can't play it. Strum a little bit or play some. Have some beats behind you, like, you know, some lo-fi hip hop beats if you're gonna do some hip hop stuff.
That resonates with me a lot, man. Because
Should have banged the table?
Recently, I haven't been singing as much, and I really want to like force myself to sing more because I have a couple potential shows coming up.
Yeah.
But yeah, just hearing that right now, having your own space, it's like, yeah, I need to just lock myself in a room for a couple hours and just
You
fucking
do.
play.
There's
and sing.
actually a Jack White song from the White Stripes, and it's called "Little Room," I think. And he talks about like how he grew up, he talked about it in an interview, like what the song was about. And basically, all he had was a drum set and a freaking mattress and a guitar and basically
he
that's
lived-
it. His whole apartment was just that.
Yeah, it was like didn't he sleep in the middle of all his instruments or something? I
Yeah,
heard,
exactly. And that was
Detroit.
his little space. And he says, even if the room gets bigger, it doesn't matter. It's still like my space.
Ooh, speaking
Wow.
of, just one little tidbit I'll add in there because we always bring up like
We're in
watching.
Canada. Timbit.
Wow, I understand.
Little
I
Timbit.
understand why
yeah.
you're always like, I'm in my room, I'm fucking writing and shit.
Oh yeah,
Makes so much sense.
Yeah, I know.
You guys should
Sometimes
have,
I feel
you
like
guys
a
should
dick
have like
'cause-
a little, like, instead of the sock on the door, a little thing that says "song in progress" or something.
Maybe actually, no, that would be kind of nice to you guys because sometimes
Artist.
they come up, they're like trying to talk to me, and I'm straight up in bed in the dark, like in cross leg position, just with
Yeah.
headphones on, bro. And I'm just like, I just got home from work, and I'm just like, I'm just sitting there. Anyway, like,
Golem.
no, it's just, yeah.
Mastery in production.
Yeah, mastery and probably. That's it. That's it. Yeah, 100%.
Oh,
Definitely.
man.
And write down those lyrics, even if they sound silly. I mean, like, come on, think about it. There's hit songs out there that go na 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 na.
Oh,
Like, I mean,
100%,
lyrical gold,
bro.
right? Yeah.
I'm an island boy.
Oh God, I was hoping we were going to mention that one, but
Yeah,
yeah,
you know what? That's on another spectrum. That day.
I think that's
Sure.
just there's a lot of hype and all that stuff. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean, catching
the production
Also-
of that
also,
it didn't
like,
even
if
really
you're
sound
worried-
that, in my opinion, didn't sound
Yeah,
that good. Like you
for
listen to
sure.
it through like speakers and like, it just sounds so distorted.
It's bad, yeah.
Sounds like somebody recorded it like
but the
I
whole
want to
idea
say
is the
basement,
hook.
but
They're
it's
going for the
like,
distorted
The whole
808s.
the whole
then.
idea is getting the hook though. Like if you're a songwriter and you're just starting out, 100%. Like you don't have to focus on the start or the end or like the verses. Just start with your hook first. Get that chorus out. Whatever you're humming in your head. Like sometimes listening to other people's music will also make you influenced to create your own hook, and then you can write your song behind it, or write like a really sweet riff you come up with, and then you can see how that just influences how you write.
so
too.
many ways, so many avenues to go about songwriting. It's-
Yeah, there's never one way.
Yeah.
And it's like what I was saying before. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey when it comes to songwriting.
There's a lot of
Bro,
a lot
I
of
respect that.
a lot of like I'm sure you guys can relate to this too. It's sometimes the feel. This was for me in my early stage of writing was to write and to think that you have to be forced to rhyme for some reason.
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, like not at all.
That's one thing that don't put yourself in that box, everybody. It doesn't have to rhyme. And also, like, if you see like a lot of rappers, sometimes they'll just like pronounce the word differently so it actually rhymes too. I think there's a thing
That's
about Kanye
art
doing
though,
that too.
yeah. That's
It is an
kinda
art to
art.
do it. Definitely,
I feel-
definitely
I
it
feel,
is.
yeah.
But just write down, and those are your feelings. Just do it. It's the best way to just get it yourself out there. Just write, and if it doesn't like catch yet, it's okay. It's a process.
I mean, I don't think you could coin that one because Nike already did it. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it.
But no, it's true though. It's true.
Shia
All
made
jokes
it
aside,
better.
100% for anybody who's listening, just do it. Legit.
Just
When it
do
comes
it.
to music, when it comes to anything, entrepreneurship, you know, you want to learn about finance, you want to learn about just whatever it is. Honestly, just legitly just do it. And there's no right time.
Yeah,
No,
exactly. And to quote
we
something
live-
else, yours to discover, Ontario.
Oh shit!
I always joke about Ontario.
Good thing.
Oh, that's what it is.
I say
yeah.
worst case Ontario.
No, you were right though.
Yeah,
You
that
were
was
right.
it too. Yeah.
Worst
I
case,
was going old school with the fucking.
worst case Ontario.
Yeah.
That was like when I'm driving like past Thunder Bay and we're like leaving Thunder Bay and you just start getting into like before Manitoba and it's just swamp and like trees and it's just like
Dude, I remember actually being driving out there and I straight up like I had that thought. I was looking at the side and I was like, damn, I was like, man, people weren't fucking around. Like this is pretty fucking flat.
what is
Like,
what is the
but it's
future?
great.
What does the future look like for Eryk Covey?
What's the future look like? Well,
Musically?
I'm going to keep playing acoustic and singing and doing those open mics. Hopefully, link up with a few fellas and do some live shows and actually do some singing, maybe some blues, maybe some rap stuff. Who knows? When it comes to that, sky's the limit. I really do want to do more collaboration, and I really, really, really want to record. My idea was to record like my own little EP before I was 30. Sadly, I'm past that date now. But
There's no time limit. man.
There's no
That's,
time limit,
you know,
exactly. So don't put yourself in that bucket. Just do it.
Like
you know?
I had the whole 27 thing for a long time.
Yeah, well, I mean
when I was young.
that's cultural influence 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's what. And then I realized it's like, no, I don't need to self harm. I don't need to fucking have drugs, sex, and rock and roll. And like, you know what I mean? That's like,
I mean, it is fun to have a little bit of drug, sex, and rock and roll every once in a while. But
Yeah.
if you have it in control,
yeah. Well, I'm talking about if we're getting
Balance,
into the
baby.
Balance is
mental
key.
illness kind of
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
it's it's all jokes and fun and games.
yeah.
until
Well, I mean, playing
Yeah.
music,
No,
playing
it's
music
real.
can,
Then it gets real quick. So.
Playing music can help you through mental illness. Like
100%.
when I'm going through hard times, I pick up that acoustic and I start playing, and I don't want to put it down, and I just feel like $1 million or more than $1 million now. I guess like $1 trillion after
Fucking Jeff
playing.
Bezos' wallet, bro.
Yeah, exactly. The Chrome Dome. I'm gonna be shaving my head bald and calling myself Jeff.
Where's the next protest?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, just be just get out there
I'm
and
just kidding.
expose. But in the next 5 years, yeah,
Fucking right,
basically
though, man.
hoping to have a little EP recorded, keep playing acoustics, shows and open mics, collaborate with my friends who are musicians.
Dude, we should record zombie song
We
and like
totally
make it a
need to.
real production.
We
It's like-
do. We actually should record like our 3 best ones that we did with Benihana for
Agreed.
sure. And lastly,
I love how that's the name of a fucking restaurant.
yeah, I know it's so funny.
But it's a
I
cool
didn't even
word.
know what
No, but
Benihana
I-
meant for the longest time.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
still not
actually,
even really
what it
sure.
came with, it was actually the skateboarding trick. And if you don't
That's
land
what
it
it is.
if you
Okay,
don't
yeah.
land it, you basically bust open your nutsack. And that was like the Benihana thing. Because Benihana is a skateboarding trick that you play like in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and all that. And if you didn't land it, you would basically, split your nutsack open. Yeah. It was hardcore. That's what the whole point. It was super hardcore. It was kind of punkish, but we had a little bit of that Rage Against the Machine vibe, right? But lastly, in the last 5 years, I'm hoping to like eventually do a little show at my property, have some friends come
Cool.
up with their bands, get the generators up, kind of do like a mini Woodstock thing, but
Concert.
just for
Dude,
friends
Do it,
and family.
man.
And
100%.
Dude, if you need someone to set up speakers and mics and a stage and shit.
you are the one I'm going to, my friend. yeah, for sure.
I mean, we'll all help out with that, obviously, but
Man, honestly, Eryk, seriously, thank you for coming on our podcast, man.
Thank you.
You had so much information to relay. I think that this one's going to be, it. And for the people who are listening to as well, we are going to be releasing a writing room session. So we have these sub-series, this is the podcast Exposure Room. We have a sub-series called the Writing Room, and where we're going to be featuring local artists, and they're going to be coming on, and you're going to be pretty much doing that right after this. So
Yes, sir.
honestly, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
We're going to
man.
link
Mad
all your
respect,
stuff.
bro.
Shout out to Kayo-Tea. We're going to link that in the description as well.
It's pretty good. I'll tell you, it's pretty awesome.
It is really
Right?
good tea, isn't
It's
it?
like
Yeah.
really good.
Everybody listening, like our shit. Don't like our shit. It's all good. We're still going to be here next week.
'Cause we're still shitting.
Or maybe in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But this is going to be released. In,
upgrading
time.
our shit too with the
Yeah.
table, by the way. Did anyone notice that? Yo, we're at the end of the podcast and
That's
people
it.
are like, holy fuck, he's right. Look, they were at a table,
I straight
bro.
up showed up. I thought I was in Camelot. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thanks again, Eryk.
Yep.
No problem.
Cheers, everybody.
Sign out, everybody. Cheers.